This is an excerpt from the Video Encyclopedia of 8 Ball, a 5-DVD instructional series organized as shown here. This is an example clip from the 4th DVD that covers advanced shot techniques and strategy. Sometimes there will be a ball tied up with the 8 in endgame situations. Let's look at various ways to deal with this sort of challenge. Here's an example where we have ball in hand shooting solids. We don't have a reasonable shot, so we decide to play safe. Sometimes, if our opponent has no reasonable shot or safety on the 8, the best option might be to tie up your last ball with the 8. In fact, that could be why we have ball in hand in this situation, since our opponent may not have had a reasonable chance to hit the 8 on the previous shot. Here, we could just tap the 5 into the 8 and leave basically the same position, but this really doesn't accomplish anything. Alternatively, we could try to hit the 5 into the 8 a little harder to create separation, so we would have a shot at the 5 if our opponent goes for a hit on the 8. However, in this situation, our opponent might just take an intentional foul and send the 5 back up against the 8. Here's an example of how this situation might pan out. Well, we wouldn't want to keep doing this because the 8 would eventually end up in front of the pocket, where our opponent might have a fairly easy kick shot for the win. Now, if the balls were at an angle like this, we could separate them and leave no easy way for the opponent to tie them up again. Here's an example of that approach. From here, because we've moved the 8 away from the rail, our opponent would not be able to leave us with no shot with ball in hand, since the 5 will be more out in the open. We could have actually done something similar at the very beginning when the 5 and 8 were aligned straight. The best plan here is to separate the 5 and 8 and freeze the cue ball to the 5 at an angle. This is fairly easy to do since the 5 won't move very much after it hits the 8. Bob is using a touch of right side spin to help the cue ball stay closer to the cushion and snuggle under the 5. Here it is. That was nicely done. We have separation, our opponent has no reasonable shot to get a hit on the 8, and there is no reasonable way for our opponent to tie up the 5 with the 8 again. We will likely get ball in hand and win the game. For more information, visit the website at DrDaveBilliards.com/8ball. There, you can view video excerpts and see a detailed outline of the entire VEEB series.